Welcome to my channel where I do guides for post-processing software and photography related stuff. I'm going to take you through my import workflow. So this is on my SD card. I'm going to import these files into my computer. I could easily go through the import process inside of ON1 Photo Raw 2021, but I like to do this through Windows Explorer. So all of these files are from the session today. These are quite big files. They are 77 megabytes about there. My camera is a Nikon D800. Your files might be bigger or smaller. Anyway, I'm gonna mark all those files and I'm gonna hit Ctrl C. Now I'm going to my image folder, which is on this hard drive. I'm going into images, raw, and here it says Builder 2021. That basically means pictures 2021. So that's the way I kind of tag my photos or folders. You can see my formatting here. I use the Northern European date format. So this is the date when I last took pictures, which was the 26th of January 2021. So I'm going to make a new folder here, and 31st 01 and dash 2021, and the location is this Fosseveien. It means nothing to you, but it basically means directly translated, it means the rapid road. So there's a waterfall right next to this Fosseveien. Winter rocket headshots. Yeah. And now I'm inside that folder. I'm going to paste in those files that I copied. It's going to take a while, so we are back when it's done. Alright, so those files are now done moving over to my hard drive. I can now go inside ON1 Photo Raw 2021 and I will find my new folder here. And I simply move to the folder where I imported those files. And we can just go in and look at those photos. All of these files are bracketed. That's why you're seeing so many different versions of the same composition. Bracketed files means basically that they are taken in a series of 5, or these are taken in a series of 5 with a different exposure value between each one. I like to do it that way because then I have a few options. If I want to, I can make a HDR. I can go through them and see if, let's say, the sky is blown in my original exposure. Then I have other exposures where the sky probably isn't blown. Anyway, that's enough about that. Now, I have a preset that I always preload my images with, and I'm going to do that this time as well. And I'm also going to use my metadata preset. So I'm going to mark all these files, and this makes the process take just a little longer time, but for me it's worth it. You might not think that there's any point for you to do this. That's completely fine. Alright, so I'm moving into my preset folder and I'm going to click the preset called Load Effects. The only thing this preset does is to load up the default or my default effects. It loads up the effects I use the most, which are color adjustment, tone enhancer, sharpening, vignette, and some other I can't remember right now. Anyway, as you can see, that takes a little time. Now, when it's done, I'm going to load my metadata preset. So I have also made a preset for loading my metadata into every file that I import to my computer. This is because I like to do it this way. And again, you might not feel you need metadata in your pictures, and that is of course completely okay. So I'm going for the metadata here. I'm going to load this preset. This preset will now apply into all of these photos. Under description, I'm just going to add the session place. So yeah, like that. And then I'm going to add a keyword for the location. So that's, and then I'm going to add a couple more. Like that. And now all of my metadata changes are embedded into these files. So that's okay. Now over to the next step, I need to deselect all of these images. So I'm hitting Control D. Okay, since these images are bracketed, if I go and edit any of these images, it's going to be a mess for me, especially if I create HDR files, and it's truly going to be a mess. So what I usually do when I have bracketed files is that I create subfolders. So I'm hitting the first one in this series of 5, and I'm holding down the shift key and hitting the last in that series. I right click and then I go for, if I can find it. I don't have my glasses on, so I have myself to blame here. There we are. Add subfolder. And then I simply call that subfolder for 1. And I make sure that move selected items into subfolder is ticked. And I don't want to copy them, so I simply want to move them. And then I go through all of these images and do the exact same. So these 5, add to subfolder, and I'm going to name this subfolder 2, 3, 5, add subfolder, subfolder 3. And I'm going to do this now, and we are back when I'm done. Alright, so I now have 16 subfolders, and as you can see, each of the subfolders have their own previews. So even though there's a lot of subfolders, I feel that I will know the composition just by looking at those previews. So let's say I want to go in and edit this one. So these are all the images inside here. It's loading a bit slow since I'm recording. And let's say I want to do this into a HDR. I can go and select all of them, and I can go for create HDR. And I'm not going to do the entire develop. I just want to show you my workflow. All right, so that's a bit bright, but we can try and make something out of this anyway. So I'm not gonna do too much inside here, so I'm just clicking save. Now, this HDR won't be preloaded with my preset or my effects. This is simply because we are merging a file, and the effects from each of those files will not be transported over. Alright, so we are now inside the develop module. And as you can see, the only preset that's present is the HDR look. And that's simply because this is a HDR. Let's say I want to do a really quick edit here, and I go into effects. I can now go for my settings, presets, presets, and I can tick that load effects. And then it loads every one of those presets, but it removed the HDR look, and that's okay. I can load that myself, so that's not a big issue. And I'm gonna hit that natural. Alright, so we have now loaded my default effects into effects on this HDR image. So this is a really easy and quick way and a time-saving way when you're working with files. Always make a default preset. You can have a preset that does stuff, or you can simply have a preset that doesn't do anything else than adding these effects or the effects that you would like to have in here. And now it's simply a matter of actually starting to develop this image. So it doesn't take a long time to do images, to develop images if you have a smart workflow. And my workflow might not fit your workflow, but this is just suggestions anyway. You add the filters you wanna add, you do exactly the kind of workflow you wanna do. If it makes sense for you, then you should stick to it. If this workflow makes sense for you, you should absolutely try it. I think it's great. For me, it works really well. So that's it for this video. If you liked the video, please hit that like button. And of course, you can subscribe if you want to do that. I would be really happy if you did. Alright, so yeah, thanks a lot for watching and I hope to see you again. Goodbye.